I think. Okay. Hello.
Hey, Danny, are you speaking? It looks like you're muted.
Yeah. When we were talking, I tried to look for the core values. I think the core values are full legal compliance, honesty, fair dealing, integrity, and respect.
Emmanuel,
That's the core values.
are you speaking
Yeah.
to Demi?
No,
Those are their core values.
Yeah, Emmanuel, can you mute your mic?
Oh. All right, Demi,
So we
please
have,
carry on.
yeah, we have let and const. And I can say let name because I'm Lola and change name to Okwe. Okay. Something like name is a reserved keyword. That's why I'm getting this crossed. So if I change it to this will go well. I can change it to okay. But if I say const equals James, and I say who equals Mirabel, I would get an error. Const is a short form for constant. It doesn't change regardless of anywhere in your code. But when you use let can be reused in different ways along the whole code. Now, we can see here that we are getting assignment to constant variable. That is the error we are getting here. Because this name James, who has been assigned to James and cannot be changed because we use const. When we use let for this, we can reassign it to another name and that will be fine for JavaScript. So if we comment this out and I run this again, sorry, that's a typo for me. We get Okwe because since we are using, and we are trying to log this name. This is also one very quick way to see whatever you're doing, console.log. It helps you see whatever you're doing in your console quickly before having to do it. This can also be done in your browser. So if you click your browser, if you right click and click inspect, it gives you this whole new environment that is different from your browser. There's also a console in your browser. So if I come and do this same thing in my browser and click enter, it's also going to log Okwe. Meaning you can be in your browser and you want to quickly check something or quickly run some code and you still use your browser too. This is because the browser has been enabled with your node environment. Wow. So that takes us through HTML and CSS. And our tasks include some JavaScript tasks for you to write functions. Functions are required because it helps you reuse your code. For example, if I say, if I do that, I might be doing the example for you. Okay. This is an example of a function, const new name equals. This takes in a name and returns a name, the same name that takes in. So this is a function. So now, here, what we are doing is we are reassigning this name to this name, or let me name it something else. So we are assigning developer to Damilola here, and here we are reassigning developer to Okwe. On the long run, if we continue doing this, we might have bugs in our code. So what we do is we have functions instead to take care of doing this, and we are all quite very certain that this new name is what we are going to always get when we use this function. So here, if I say console.log new name, and I say Okwe, this Damilola here has this double string, this quotation marks, because it is a string. This developer does not have it because it is a key. Key and strings are quite different. Keys are used for identifying strings, just like the way we have name, and my name is Damilola. Damilola is the string, the value, while name is my key. So at this point, if we say console.log new name, Okwe. Okwe is what we are entering here as the name, and this function is going to return Okwe. Let me comment this out. So if we go through this and say new name, we get Okwe. So to be quite sure that this is what we are getting, you can also add this to be quite sure that what you are getting is what you are getting. So we can see new name here. So new name is Okwe. So that brings us to Mirabel's question. Okay, can Mirabel share her screen? Is she permitted to share her screen?
Yes, she can.
Okay,
However,
so
you'd have to
stop sharing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she says she's using a phone. Okay. I wouldn't have a concrete idea into why you're getting that, but you have to press forward. So that brings us to deployment. This clone we are trying to build, it doesn't have to be functional. It doesn't have to have this. It doesn't have to be clickable, but it just has to look like this. So here, I'll give you an example of what is used to make this Facebook this color. So in HTML, we have two main elements for identification. They are called class. Class, what can we call this? Name. Or ID. Now, this is a class and this is an ID. We can have multiple classes. We can have multiple classes, but on no occasion should we have multiple IDs of the same value, or on no occasion should we have multiple classes of same value. It is not advisable to use same value for your classes and ID for easy identification. So we can change this to, let's say, ID. On our CSS file, that is, this ID and class are used to identify these elements on our CSS file and on our JavaScript file. So on our CSS file, we can come here and say name, color, blue. Now we are getting an error because this is not going to work. Okay, I think I should make this distinct. So the class, this can be, yeah. So now for identification purposes, this is our classes and the developer is our ID. So coming to our CSS file, this is not going to work because you identify classes using a dot name, color blue. This will change the text color. That's weird. That name color blue. That should work. So in this instance, when you have something like this, the simple thing I do is consult our friend, W3 Schools, like we had earlier on. Ordinarily, that should work because we can see here, they are targeting the H1 tag with color white. Okay, I have an idea why that didn't work. And still, it's not working. That was because I was using a string, whereas string are always only used in JavaScript, not in CSS. So this should work now. But anytime you have something like this, an error, the easiest thing you could do is come to Google and that is what every developer does. Regardless of how many years experience, I can come to Google and say how to style. I come to Google and how to style in CSS, and instantly Google gives me examples of how to style in CSS. You can see this is the first script file, but it is not advisable, or having it in a different file, like this is done here. So you getting stuck is not a problem, but you finding a way out of being stuck, that is always the easiest and most advisable thing. Come to Google. Okay, yeah, 1 hour 30 minutes max. Okay, instantly Google gives you an answer. If you're trying to target ID, we can't target ID using this dot. We use hash instead. We name that ID color green. When we come back to this, we have color green. So that takes us to deployment now. Is it here or here? Yeah, for submission. Bonus, you can use Surge free hosting. So this is Surge. The first thing you do is this, npm install -- global Surge. So when I do something like this, I copy this command and I come to my file and I come to my terminal. I'm using an integrated terminal here. An integrated terminal is a terminal in my development environment. Every development environment gives you this, or I could use my command line, my main terminal for my computer. So if I come here and do this npm install global Surge installs Surge in my entire computer. Ordinarily, you would install your dependencies, like we call them, in the particular project you're working on, so you don't have a lot of overload on your system. But if I install this, I already have it installed on my system. This would install Surge on my entire computer, and let me use the command surge. So if I want to deploy this file now, or if I want to deploy this project that we've been working on, I can come here and click on ls. ls lists, you can do it on your timing now. ls shows me where I am. So what I need to do is navigate to where my project is, and my project is in documents. So I check here again with ls. ls lists everything in the folder that you're inside. So ls, I can see Flurry, Talentia, Personnel, and Student Helpdesk. Our project is in Student Helpdesk. So with cd is change directory. cd is the same thing as doing this on your normal system, clicking this and coming here. This is cd. So cd, I can change directory to Student Helpdesk, and I check what is inside Student Helpdesk to be sure that this is the project I want to deploy using Surge. And I can come here and write this command, Surge. So I have Surge installed already, but ordinarily Surge will prompt you and ask you for a username, and it will ask you for your password. So it's like a registration to Surge to allow you to be able to use Surge fully on your system. So Surge asks me, is this user Damilola documents, Student Helpdesk, is this the folder I want to deploy? Surge would give me this as the link for this project. So you could also say you want something else. You could also say, I want Damilola Student and I click enter. So it tells me I do not have this permission. This is because I do not have a paid account. So the advisable thing would be to use Surge. When Surge asks you for the folder, if you are sure this is the folder, you click enter, and Surge gives you a random domain name. I click enter again too. That's weird. You do not have permission to publish a Surge. So I think this is a good one too, to show you something. When you have an error like this, the easiest and fastest way to debug it is to go directly to this. Copy it, just copy the error code you are getting or whatever error message you are getting. Go to Google and paste it directly. That is always the fastest way to check whatever you are doing. That is always the fastest way to check whatever you're doing. But cut short of our time, I would we can still look through this a little bit. So you can read through blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Now, so you can see a lot of people are having this problem too, which is quite normal to have problems along the way. But instead of using this, I would rather use something or come are not necessarily on my computer. In a situation where you have a star and an element conflict, like the first H1 has a class having a background color red, and the same H1 has an ID having a background color pink. Which do you pick? Ordinarily, you shouldn't have this together doing the same thing in one file. So what Tomiwa is saying is what I'm going to try to show you right now. Or Tomiwa's question is what I'm going to try to show you. If you can see our CSS file, we have name blue and this green. The ID will always take precedence over the class, but it's always advisable to have different things doing different things and for easily debugging. Because here, the ID will always take precedence as being more important than the class. Since in your entire project, this is the only place that has an ID with ID. But in your entire project, you can have this class name in other different places. So it's advisable to pick the ID and stick with it. Since other classes or since other elements will have this same class. So in this instance now, if you say because you want to change Damilola to blue, and you change this name to blue, it's going to affect, if because of I want this to be blue, I make this important, it's going to affect this rest, the remaining other Damilolas. So it's advisable to stick to the ID. And I can say I'm finding it difficult to grant access on my zipped file. Kindly assist. Okay, firstly, where did you zip your file? I think that would be the main thing. Firstly, where did you zip your file? That would be the main thing. First, where did you zip your file?
Let me charge my plate. I did not know I will need it.
Emmanuel, can you mute? Yeah, so with our project being deployed right now, we can copy this link, published to. This link is what you copy. Because that page not found. That's weird. Student Helpdesk, search. Student Helpdesk, search. Fuzzy stomach, published to. That's very, very, very weird. So now we have navigated to this folder. Okay, I think I know the problem. The problem might be the folder name. This is one very common mistake a lot of people make. So now let's check this. This folder name is student space helpdesk. The computer does not understand that. That space in between, we call it white space. The computer does not understand that. So firstly, what I'll do is change the name of the folder to this. And try opening it again. So if you're deploying continuously, such will keep on giving you random names to use. That's very weird. Very, very weird. Like I said, Google is your friend. Okay. So with what this person suggested, like I said, when you get an error, you just instantly come to Google and try to find just the exact error message you get. You come to Google and check it. Someone else would have had that problem. So we can see why shows page not found if we use the file name and not index.html. So this is happening because we didn't use index.html. So what search would look for originally is your index.html. But since we are using dummy.html here, search does not understand that. So we have to navigate by ourselves to index.html and try redeployment. And try redeployment. This should work. Gateway timeout. Why is the gateway timing out? No, it has to get search. Something weird is happening. Why is it linking to a YouTube video? That's quite weird. Has that link been used before? Because I don't think Surge would give us a link that has, okay, aborted. For some reason, that was aborted. You don't have permission to publish to. So permission issue is always a Surge thing. So with submission, you could easily submit. You could easily submit the early Surge link. And for the person said they were having a problem with granting access, where did you zip your file? Because that would be, because for example, if you're using something like Dropbox, that was what I used then. You can also use Dropbox as a service to quickly zip your files. Right now. So we can come to our documents, student help desk, upload. So this would mean me uploading my student help desk to Dropbox. And at the moment, only you is definitely there. Dropbox doesn't zip anymore. Wow, it's been long I use Dropbox. Dropbox evidently doesn't zip anymore. So since Dropbox doesn't evidently zip anymore, you could come to this. Those on Windows easily have this. Those using Windows, if you come to your file and you click on right click, the permission issue is not with the file you zipped, but with the way you are sharing the file. Tomiwa. So here, this file is zipped right now. So I can decide to send it to, Okwe. So this is majorly how you zip. You right click it. Those using Mac, you can come to compress, and those using Windows, you should have a zip here. You should have a zip here, something that says you zip. You could add to zip file. You could email as a zip file. If you click on email as a zip file, it will zip it automatically, or you could unzip it. So the main problem would be how you are sharing it, not necessarily the permission issues for that file. So I could come here and say, okay, and go to this. So it takes a little while. Block for security reasons. Help. Oh, that's weird. So Gmail actually blocks. Wow. Tomiwa, is this the kind of message you're getting? Just Tomiwa that asked that question. Oh, rather, Emmanuel. Sorry, Emmanuel. I've been saying Tomiwa since. I don't know where I saw that name. Is this the kind of error you've been getting? This is quite weird. There are always a million ways to skin a cat. Yeah. There's always a problem with Mac. You always have to purchase a lot of things. You always have to purchase a lot of things. But if you're using Windows, this should be pretty easy for you and should go without any hassle.